Friends, I welcome Secretary Ministry of Power, Shri Alok Kumar, Additional Secretary Ministry of Power, Ajay Tiwari, and the Director General of the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, Shri Bakreji, again at the end of the 3-day third working group of Energy Transitions G-20 meeting. I request all of us to please keep the mobiles on silent. And when you ask the question, please introduce yourself and your organization. Thank you. Sir.
Thank you. We have very successfully completed the deliberations in this 3-day meeting. So we started on Monday morning, that is on 15th, and the agenda which we had planned has been completed. We have covered a large number of paragraphs in the draft communique. Very detailed discussion have happened. We go line by line, and every country, you have 19 countries and one European Union, G20, is free to give their inputs, comments, not once, as many times they want on a para. So we give full time till the time everybody has given his full comments by taking mic up floor a number of times. And I'm very happy to share that there has been very good consensus on the proposals of India as a presidency of G20 in the area of energy transitions. Most notable is the consensus on giving high priority to ensuring universal access to modern and sustainable energy to everybody on the planet. Say, India is representing the voice of Global South, and our priority is that energy transition should be done in a manner that, number one, we fulfill the energy requirements, we ensure energy security, and nobody is left behind. Everybody on this planet has access to modern and sustainable energy. So that has been agreed in our discussions in the working group level. We have also agreed to give priority to promote the fuels for future. That is, there are certain fuels we are using currently, but for future, 2 fuels have very good prospects. One is the green hydrogen, and there are other methods also to produce almost zero carbon hydrogen. Like when you produce hydrogen, in some methods there are carbon emissions. From renewables there is none, so we call it green. But one can also produce a similarly green hydrogen from nuclear energy also. Emission. So there has been consensus on promoting the use of green or equally clean hydrogen for addressing the need of decarbonization in hard-to-abate sectors. There are certain industries like steel, like refineries, like fertilizers, or aviation, the shipping, where technology doesn't permit direct use of renewable energy. So hydrogen is the way if you use green hydrogen. And other area is the biofuel. You know, India has got very good success in the ethanol blending. 10% we have achieved. We are moving to 20%. We already started. This was agreed on this global platform that all G20 countries, subject to their national requirements and priorities, they will work together to promote larger use of biofuels, and that is second generation, third generation biofuels, so which will not impinge on food security. We will produce these biofuels from such material which will not impinge on food security, like waste, residue, and those type of things. This will also enhance the income of the farmers, and these activities of green hydrogen and biofuels will also promote large number of new green jobs in the economy. So the energy transition has to be a win-win situation. It should not be a situation, it should not lead to pains and difficulties. We should steer energy transition in a manner that everybody gets a chance to better environment, cleaner environment, and also new green jobs. So these activities will add to not only new jobs. Let me also share with you that along with this meeting, we had very successful organization of 7 side events. So organizing 7 side events in 3 days was a major task, very challenging task for us. So we started with the first side event on Monday morning on the low-cost financing for new technologies. Second side event in the forenoon of Monday was on the promoting biofuels, and there is a proposal to set up a global biofuel alliance. In the afternoon on Monday, we had a side event on just transition roadmap. There are areas in various countries where there will be shift in technology. So this side event was to ensure that this transition doesn't lead to job loss. We also create in advance the different type of jobs in these areas, different type of economic activities. So like suppose you use green hydrogen and there is a shift in the technology in the steel production. So you train people for the new technology. So the jobs are not affected. Next day, that is Tuesday, we had one very good seminar on the offshore wind technology, which is going to be a new resource for India's power sector, because offshore wind doesn't require land. Land is a constraint in India. So we'll have now wind production in the offshore areas, and which has a higher capacity utilization factor, and it helps to meet the peak demand because it comes in the evening. It's not like solar that all the solar comes in the day. So India is going to promote in a big way the offshore resources, and we intend to reach around say 50 gigawatt in next 20 years or so through offshore wind. So a lot of experts, they sat down and discussed the promotion of offshore wind. And we had another side event on Tuesday, that is the sharing global policies and best practices to decarbonize hard to abate sectors. So what are technologies, policy interventions, regulatory framework, financing is required to take forward the technologies for hard to abate sectors, which include certain industries like steel, cement, and also the transport like shipping, like aviation, or long distance trucks. Long distance trucks use the diesel and petrol, but in the long term, India wants to reduce the use of diesel petrol because we import it, and they also emit carbon dioxide. So when you use green hydrogen, then it's a cleaner mobility. We also had a full day seminar yesterday. The other was half day, but full day seminar on the how to promote smaller modular reactors for the clean energy transition. So this is a new type of reactors for generating electricity from nuclear energy. So they are small sized, they are produced in factory, they take less time, and they can be mass produced, their cost is less. So whole world is working on the new designs of the smaller modular reactors. We had a very large group of experts, international experts, who discussed the requirements and the necessities and the policies required for promoting the SMRs. We had one more side event today, which was on accelerating energy efficiency and promoting energy efficient life. Lifestyle for environment and also energy efficiency. As our proposal is that for G-20, we should double the rate of energy efficiency by 2030. So that is a global goal we are promoting. So there was a detailed discussion. Apart from these 7 side events, we also had one interaction between G20 and B20. G20, it consists of the government delegations. B20 is a business 20, which has a corporates. So corporates also discuss that how to contribute in energy transition. So yesterday evening we had a a meeting of G20 and B20 for 2.5 hours, in which the corporates, their representatives, they shared their vision, what they are planning, and what are they expecting from governments. And the foreign delegations who are attending G20 meeting here, they were present to listen to those suggestions and plans, and also to respond to their queries. So this whole event of 3 days was full of activities on very diverse topics, and I'm very sure that all the discussions on all the topics which we have proposed will benefit India in many ways: new green jobs, cleaner energy, and better life for our people in India. Thank you. Differences are only in the details. All the principles and the areas are agreed to. How to go about, there are implementational details in which there are suggestions which we have noted down, and we will have further meetings before Goa meeting to harmonize those suggestions. So there is no disagreement on the broad areas of priorities. The details are all, somebody says we should do in that manner and that manner, only to the details of implementation. There is no divergence of view on the broad principles and areas.
So you spoke about having consensus on green hydrogen. The other day, whether to classify nuclear energy after
I said,
hydrogen,
yeah, please.
Green or not. So has there been some consensus on that?
I said green hydrogen in the sense, green or equally clean. The name we are still in the process of deciding how do we define, but all the countries agreed that there is a need to promote almost near zero carbon emission hydrogen. So naming is still a work in progress.
So yesterday Mr. Khan talked about that, SMR session. You said that there is a huge discussion on that. But can you have some more details? Because in India, we are looking at the indigenous reactors as well as foreign reactors. This is a small way coming up. Has there been initiative already been taken by maybe nuclear power corporation or other?
So our community, our colleagues in Atomic Energy Ministry, Atomic Department, they are already working on a smaller model reactor technology, and it is being coordinated by NITI Aayog and the Department of Atomic Energy. So they are already working with their colleagues in other countries. So it is not that we are only talking about it, they are already working on the design and testing designs.
So as per this, as you rightly said, India has, what will be the potential that has been discussed vis-a-vis about this SMR?
No, our target is 50 gigawatt of the nuclear energy by 2047.
But that is total, no?
Huh. So SMRs, say it is a technology in future. SMR designs are still being tested. So as and when they mature, then only I can say that this will be a share from the 50 gigawatt.
So there was a specific request yesterday asking Americans to come forward with technology, unfettered access to technology and other things. I'm guessing there would have been American delegates present in the room as well. So how did they sort of take to it, and some commitment made, like if they were made at all during your talks with the delegates?
So we do not talk one-to-one, but in our group, US delegation was also there as a part of the G20 group, and they supported the technology transfer, but it is always on the voluntary and mutually agreed basis. You cannot have a general thing that, okay, it is there in the, anybody can come and take the book. No. So there are details to be worked out. So whatever is mutually agreed, my sense is US side is very keen to collaborate with India in the area of technology, and many projects they are talking to us.
Nuclear technology.
Yeah, including nuclear technology.
Sir, my name is Gaurav. I'm from the True Hunt Online.
So, sir, my question is rolling out of tenders, which would be done in the future. Sir, what parameters, seeing ease of doing business, which India is promoting a lot, what parameters would be kept in mind while rolling those tenders?
See, any tender, when you come out, you have to see that tenders are designed in a way there is sufficient competition and participation. The whole tendering process, so we have to work very closely with the industry, not with the individual industry player. You interact with them as a group and talk to them about a proposal, what will be conditions for tendering, and come to a format which meets your objective of the project. But you have to also design it in a way that there is sufficient competition, sufficient participation. So that is the way we always work. Like for PLI design, MNRE always work with the industry and they come to a tender specification so that there is sufficient participation. And other important element of the tendering is the transparency. Whatever you know, everybody should have the access to the same information.
Fuels, as you rightly said, India has already achieved 10%, going in for 20. Is there any kind of an information sharing or media sharing on other countries, how they have gone in for a new technology or that?
No, Brazil is, I think, they have tested up to 85%. And so Brazil is the leader. And let me say, if I recall, Indonesia also supported biofuels. China also supported biofuels. So biofuels is a very, so one good thing is that it is a very firm and predictable source of energy. Solar and wind, they are intermittent. But bioenergy you can store and you can use it as and when you want. So it's a good resource. Many countries. But let me also share with you, some countries, they have a concern that promoting biofuel should not impinge on food security. So that they give their inputs. The group has taken care that every country has its own freedom to devise its policies. We promote biofuels. Yeah.
Shilpa, do you want to ask?
How are we going to take up this challenge?
Say, storage is must because renewable resource may come at a time when the demand is not there. And when the demand is there, resource may not be there. So you need to store, like you store water in your house or you store anything. So for energy storage, currently there are two ways. One is the pumped storage project, which is a homegrown technology. And I'm very happy that Ministry of Power has issued its guidelines. And there are several developers who are already in an advanced stage. And my colleagues in the Central City Authority, they tell that they have got more than a dozen projects for the techno-economic clearance for PSP. Second part is the battery storage. Battery could be of different chemistry, but most mature technology currently is the lithium-ion technology. And we have already completed the award of work for 1,000 megawatt-hour battery storage technology. So it is under implementation. It's very expensive currently, but PSP is site-specific, and it takes time to develop. PSP may take 4 or 5 years, but battery can be developed in 18 months. So, and long-term PSP capacity is not infinite. Battery you can have a large sizes, huge sizes. So in the coming years, main focus will be on PSP, but we'll also develop parallelly the ecosystem for battery storage and try to bring down its cost by scaling up.
Sir, will the country will be in a position to achieve battery storage by 2030? Do you feel it is an achievable target?
Say, my recollection is by 2030 we require around 70 gigawatt of battery storage for 5 hours. Yeah, we can do it, but we need money for it, so we have to bring down costs. It is not impossible to, it is possible to do. Okay? I think, thank you.
Shilpa, you want to ask something? Mic there, Tila.
Realities of the priority areas that have been taken forward for the next meetings to come. Could you maybe throw some light on the most important ones that are still left over?
So there are two types of discussions we'll like to do in the intersessional interactions through video conference with the G-20 countries. On the paras, we could complete the discussion. There are certain issues to be sorted out. There are some on some issues there are variety of opinion has come, so we have to harmonize. And there are some paras which are yet to be discussed. So we'll take many number of intersessional video conference, that is user practice. So that by the time we meet in Goa, we would have covered almost 90% work. That is all. Thank you.
Sir, and wish you all the best for
Thank
the
you.
Goa meeting.